Zara Vexhai ran through the dark halls of the Karathi command ship. Her heart beat fast as she heard boots behind her. The metal floor was cold under her bare feet. She had to get away before they caught her. The data pad in her hand felt heavy. It held proof of what Voss had done. Her own people would kill her if they found her with it. But she had to get the truth out somehow. 3 days ago, her life was perfect. She was going to marry Voss Kyreth, the greatest commander in the Kyrathi fleet. Her family was proud. The High Council blessed their union. Everything was as it should. But then she found the secret files. Voss was selling weapons to the Helix pirates, the same pirates who had killed thousands of Kyrathi citizens, the same enemies her own brother died fighting. Voss took their money and gave them military secrets. He was a traitor. When she confronted him, Voss just smiled. His cold yellow eyes showed no shame. "You understand nothing about power, Zara," he said. "The old ways are dying. I choose the winning side." "You betray our own people," she said. Her voice shook with anger. "I secure our future," Voss replied. "Join me or stay silent. Those are your choices." But Zara could not stay silent. She tried to take the evidence to the High Council. That was her mistake. Voss had friends everywhere. Within hours, the council declared her a traitor instead. They said she was working with the pirates. They said she was the one selling secrets. Now, she ran for her life through the ship she once called home. Zara reached the hangar bay. Her small scout ship sat in the corner. She had to reach it. The guards would come soon. She heard shouts echoing from the corridors behind her. She sprinted across the open space. Her legs felt weak. Fear made everything seem slow and fast at the same time. The ship grew larger as she got closer. "Almost there. Stop!" a voice boomed behind her. Zara did not stop. She reached her ship and threw herself inside. Her hands moved over the controls without thinking. The engines started with a low hum. She had flown this ship 1,000 times. The hangar doors began to close. Someone had hit the emergency seal. Zara pushed the throttle forward. Her ship shot toward the shrinking gap. Sparks flew as her wings scraped the closing door. Then she was out in space. The stars looked different now. Before, they seemed friendly and familiar. Now they felt cold and empty. She had no home to return, to no family who would believe her, nowhere to go. Her communication system crackled to life. "Zara Vexhai, you are under arrest for treason," came Voss's voice. "Return immediately or face the consequences." She switched off the radio. 3 Karathi warships appeared on her scanner. They were fast and heavily armed. Her scout ship was built for speed, not fighting. She had to run. Zara pushed her engines to maximum power. The small ship jumped forward. The stars became lines of light as she entered hyperspace. But she knew the warships would follow. They had better engines and more fuel. They would catch her eventually. Where could she go? The Kirathi Empire had allies across half the galaxy. They would all hunt her now. The other half were enemies, who would kill her on sight. She was trapped between those who believed Voss's lies and those who hated all Kirathi. Her fuel gauge showed half empty. The warships behind her were getting closer. Soon she would have to drop out of hyperspace. Then they would catch her. Zara looked at her star charts. There was one system nearby that might work. It was listed as a human colony world. Humans were new to space travel. Most aliens thought they were primitive and harmless. The Karathi Empire mostly ignored them. Maybe that would save her. Maybe primitive humans would not care about Karathi politics. Maybe they would not know she was supposed to be a criminal. It was her only choice. Zara changed course toward the human system. Her ship shuddered as the engines worked harder. The fuel gauge dropped lower. The pursuing ships fell back slightly, but they were still following her trail. She dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the human solar system. A blue and green planet hung before her. It looked peaceful. Small ships moved between the planet and its moon. She could see a space station orbiting nearby. Her engines made a bad sound. Smoke filled the cockpit. The hyperspace jump had damaged something important. Red lights flashed on her control panel. She was losing power fast. The human planet grew larger as her ship fell toward it. She tried to steer toward an empty area. The last thing she wanted was to hurt innocent people. Her ship began to heat up as it hit the atmosphere. Trees and mountains rushed past her window. She found a flat area and aimed for it. The crash would probably kill her. But at least she would die free, not as Voss's prisoner. The ship hit the ground hard. Zara's world went black. When she woke up, everything hurt. Her ship was broken around her. Pieces of metal lay everywhere. Smoke rose from the engines. She was lucky to be alive. Zara crawled out of the wreckage. Her left arm hung at a wrong angle. Blood covered her face. But she could move. She could think. That was more than she expected. The alien world stretched out around her. Strange trees with green leaves moved in the wind. The air smelled different, but she could breathe it. 2 suns hung in the purple sky. This was not like her homeworld at all. In the distance she could see lights, a settlement of some kind. The humans lived there. They were her only hope now. She had to reach them before her injuries got worse, or before the Karathi ships found. Her Zara began to walk toward the lights. Each step hurt. Her people were stronger than humans, but she was badly injured. She did not know if she would make it. Behind her, the broken ship sent up a column of black smoke. It would be visible for miles. Anyone looking would know exactly where she had crashed. She had to get away from it. The Karathi Empire had taught her that humans were weak and stupid. They had no honor. They could not be trusted. But now they were her only chance for survival. Zara hoped her people were wrong about humans. Her life depended on it. Jake Morrison was having a bad day even before he found the alien. His cargo hauler had broken down twice on the flight to New Haven Colony. The coffee maker was busted, and now his scanner was picking up strange energy readings from the forest, south of town. Energy readings meant crashed ships or broken equipment. Both meant trouble. Jake was tired. He had been flying supply runs to the outer colonies for 3 years. It was not exciting work, but it paid the bills. Most days were boring. Today was not boring, and that worried him. He flew his ship low over the trees. Smoke rose from a clearing ahead. Something had definitely crashed. Jake hoped it was not one of the colony ships. New Haven only had 12 vessels total. They could not afford to lose any. The crash site came into view. Jake's mouth fell open. The wrecked ship was nothing like human design. It was sleek and silver with strange markings on the hull. Definitely alien. And definitely not supposed to be here. Jake landed his cargo hauler near the wreckage. He grabbed his medical kit and scanner before stepping outside. The alien ship was still smoking. Whoever had been flying it was probably dead, but he had to check. He walked around the broken vessel, looking for a way inside. Part of the hull had torn away in the crash. Jake peered through the gap. The cockpit was empty but covered in blue liquid. Alien blood, maybe. A sound made him turn around. Something was moving at the edge of the forest. Jake pulled out his pistol but did not aim it yet. Moving slowly, he walked toward the trees. She stepped out of the shadows and Jake almost dropped his gun. The alien was clearly female, though very different from human women. She was tall, maybe 6.5 feet. Her skin was pale blue with darker markings along her neck and arms. Long white hair hung past her shoulders. Her eyes were large and completely black. She was also badly hurt. Her left arm bent the wrong way. Blue blood covered her face and clothes. She swayed on her feet like she might fall over. The alien woman saw Jake and stopped moving. Her black eyes went wide with fear or surprise. She said something in a language he did not understand. Her voice was musical but weak. Jake lowered his pistol. Whatever else she was injured and scared. His military training told him to call for backup. His conscience told him to help her. "Hey," he said softly. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." The alien woman tilted her head. She said something else in her strange language. Then she pointed to herself and spoke one word clearly. "Zara." Jake pointed to his own chest. "Jake." He moved very slowly, keeping his hands visible. "I want to help you." You're hurt." Zara seemed to understand his tone, if not his words. She took a shaky step forward, then another. On the third step, her legs gave out. She started to fall. Jake caught her before she hit the ground. She was heavier than she looked, with dense muscle and bone. But she was also unconscious and bleeding. He had to get her medical help fast. The nearest hospital was back at New Haven Colony. Jake carried Zara to his ship and laid her on the cargo bay floor. He found some blankets to make her comfortable. Then he started the engines and flew toward town. His radio crackled as he approached the colony. "Cargo 7, this is New Haven Control. You're coming in fast. Is there a problem?" Jake hesitated. He was about to cause a very big problem. "Control, I have a medical emergency. I need Dr. Carter standing by." "Copy that, Cargo 7. Dr. Carter is on his way to the landing pad." Jake set his ship down as gently as possible. Dr. Ben Carter was waiting with his medical bag. "Captain." Lisa Wade stood beside him with her arms crossed. She looked angry already. "What's the emergency, Jake?" Dr. Carter asked as the cargo ramp lowered. Jake stepped aside so they could see Zara. Dr. Carter's eyes went wide. Captain Wade cursed loudly. "Jake Morrison, what have you done?" she demanded. "I found her at a crash site," Jake said. "She's hurt. Bad. She needs help." Dr. Carter was already kneeling beside Zara, checking her pulse and breathing. "Her physiology is different, but not too strange. I think I can treat her." "We can't treat an alien without proper protocols," Captain Wade said. "This could be an invasion scout, or carrying diseases." "She's unconscious and has a broken arm," Jake replied. "Not exactly invasion material." Dr. Carter looked up from his patient. "Her vital signs are stable but weak. We need to get her to the medical center now. We can argue about protocols later." Captain Wade was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. "Fine, but she goes in isolation, and we report this to Colonial Command immediately." They carried Zara to the medical center on a stretcher. The few colonists they passed stared in shock and fear. Most had never seen a living alien before. New Haven was too small and remote for much contact with other species. Dr. Carter worked on Zara for 2 hours. Jake waited outside the isolation room watching, through the window. Captain Wade paced back and forth talking on her radio to headquarters. "Colonial Command wants her turned over to the nearest military base," she told Jake when she finished her call. "She just crashed here by accident," Jake said. "She's not a threat." "You don't know that. Look at her ship design. That's military. Technology, not civilian." Jake had noticed that too. Zara's ship was built for speed and stealth, but that did not make her dangerous. Maybe she's running from something. Or she's a spy or an assassin or carrying a plague. Captain Wade rubbed her forehead. "Jake, I know you want to help her, but I have 800 colonists to protect." Dr. Carter came out of the isolation room before Jake could answer. He pulled off his surgical gloves and smiled tiredly. "She'll live," he said. "Broken arm, concussion, and some internal bleeding. But her species seems tough. She's healing faster than a human would." "Is she awake?" Jake asked. "In and out. She keeps saying words I don't recognize, probably calling for help in her own language." Captain Wade stepped forward. "When can we move her?" "She needs at least a week of bed rest, maybe 2. Dr. Carter looked between them. "What's the plan here? We can't just dump an injured alien in space." "Colonial Command wants her transferred to a military facility for questioning," Captain Wade said. "She can barely sit up," Dr. Carter replied. "Moving her now could kill her." Jake felt anger building in his chest. "So we're going to hand over an injured refugee to military interrogators?" "We don't know she's a refugee," Captain Wade snapped. "For all we know, her people are on their way here right now." As if summoned by her words, the colony's alert siren began to wail. All 3 of them froze. The siren only meant one thing: incoming ships. Captain Wade's radio crackled to life. "Control to Captain Wade. We have 3 unknown vessels approaching the system. Military configuration. They're not responding to our hails." Jake looked through the window at Zara's still form on the medical bed. Her people had found her, and they did not sound friendly. "This is Captain Wade," she said into her radio. "Put the colony on alert status. Raise shields and prepare for possible combat." She looked at Jake with grim eyes. "Looks like your alien friend just became our biggest problem." Jake stared at Zara through the glass. Even unconscious, she looked afraid. Whatever she was running from had followed her here, and now his colony was caught in the middle. "What do we do?" Dr. Carter asked quietly. Captain Wade was already walking toward the door. "We find out what those ships want, and we decide if one alien life is worth risking 800 human ones." Jake stayed behind as the others left. He pressed his hand against the glass window. Zara's eyes opened slightly as if she felt him watching. Their eyes met for just a moment before she slipped back into unconsciousness. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I won't let them hurt you." He just hoped he could
Keep that promise.
2 weeks had passed since the Colony Council voted to let Zara stay. In that time, she had become part of daily life at New Haven. She helped Dr. Carter in the medical center. She improved the colony's power systems with Jake. She even learned to cook human food with Mary Kim. But the Karathi ships still waited at the edge of the system. They sent demanding messages every day. Captain Wade was running out of diplomatic excuses to delay. Everyone knew the situation could not last much longer. Zara tried not to think about it. For the first time in her life, she was happy. She had work that mattered, people who cared about her, and Jake. Jake had become more than a friend, though neither of them had spoken about it directly. He found reasons to spend time with her every day. She found herself looking forward to his visits more than anything else. They were working on his ship's engines when it happened. Jake was explaining how human mechanics differed from alien designs. Zara was listening but mostly watching his face. He grew excited when he talked about things he loved. His eyes lit up and his hands moved as he spoke. "The beauty of human engineering is simplicity," Jake was saying. "We can't always make the most advanced technology, so we make it reliable. Instead, like humans themselves," Zara said softly. Jake looked at her. "What do you mean?" "You are not the strongest species in the galaxy, not the smartest, not the most advanced. But you are reliable. You help others. You keep promises. You do what is right even when it is hard." Jake was quiet for a moment. "Is that how you see us? How you see me?" "Yes." Zara moved closer to him. "That is why She stopped herself. The word she wanted to say did not exist in Karathi language. Her people had no concept for what she felt about Jake. "Why you what?" Jake asked gently. Zara struggled to find the right human words. "My people arrange marriages for political reasons. We choose partners for strength and status. But humans choose based on feelings. On love." "Yeah, usually. When we're lucky." "I think I understand love now," Zara said, looking into Jake's eyes. "It is what I feel for you." Jake's breath caught. "Zara, I know it is impossible. We are different species, different worlds, but I cannot change how I feel." Jake reached out and touched her face. His skin was warm against hers. "It's not impossible. Different, maybe. Complicated, definitely. But not impossible." "Do you..." Zara could not finish the question. "Love you?" "Yeah, I do." Jake smiled. "I've been trying to figure out how to tell you for days." They kissed then, soft and careful at first, then with growing certainty. Zara had never experienced anything like it. Karathi physical contact was about dominance and duty. This was about connection and choice. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "This changes things," Jake said. "Everything," Zara agreed. "But I do not want to go back to how things were." They held each other in the cargo bay, surrounded by tools and spare parts. It should have been unromantic. Instead, it felt perfect, real in a way that nothing in Zara's old life had ever been. Their moment was interrupted by Jake's radio crackling to life. "Jake, Come to the command center immediately. Captain Wade's voice was tight with stress. They separated reluctantly. Jake helped Zara down from the engine compartment. Her legs felt unsteady, but not from injury. Everything had changed in the space of a few minutes. At the command center, Captain Wade and Dr. Carter were studying scanner readings. Both looked grim. "What's the situation?" Jake asked. "The Kirathi ships are moving," Captain Wade said. "They've entered the inner system, and they're not alone." The main screen showed a tactical display. 6 ships now appeared instead of 3. The new arrivals were larger and more heavily armed. "A battle fleet," Zara said quietly. "They are preparing for war." "Against us?" Dr. Carter asked. "Against anyone who stands in their way." Zara studied the ship configurations. "The lead vessel is a command dreadnought. That means—" She stopped, her face going pale. "What is it?" Jake asked. "Voss is here. He commands the dreadnought Talon's Edge. He must have convinced the High Council that this colony is a major threat." Captain Wade turned to face her. "Is there something you haven't told us? Some reason they would bring a battle fleet for one person?" Zara was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. "Yes. I have not told you everything." She looked at each of them. "I am not just a diplomat who discovered corruption. I am the daughter of Supreme Admiral Keth Vexhai, III, in command of the entire Kirathi military." The human stared at her in shock. "My family has enemies in the High Council," Zara continued. "Voss saw an opportunity to disgrace us by framing me as a traitor. If he captures me and brings me back for public execution, he will gain enormous political power." "And if he has to destroy a human colony to do it," Jake asked, "he will call it necessary to stop a dangerous fugitive. The other powers in the galaxy will barely notice. Humans are still considered unimportant by most species." Captain Wade rubbed her forehead. "So we're not just protecting one refugee. We're caught in the middle of alien politics that could affect the entire human expansion into space." "Yes," Zara said simply. "I am sorry. I should have told you sooner." Jake stepped closer to her. "Would it have changed anything? We still would have helped you. You should not have to pay for my family's political problems." "Too late for that now," Captain Wade said. "The question is, what do we do about it?" Dr. Carter was studying the ship readings. "Could we negotiate? Offer some kind of compromise?" Zara shook her head. "Voss will accept nothing less than my death, preferably in front of cameras for maximum political impact." "Then we run," Jake said. "Get everyone to the ships and evacuate." "To where?" "Captain," Wade asked. "This is our home. Everything we've built is here. Besides, those ships are faster than anything we have. They'd catch us in open space." Zara was thinking hard. "There might be another way. But it would be very dangerous." "More dangerous than fighting a battle fleet?" Jake asked. "Maybe." Zara looked at each of them. "I still have the evidence that proves Voss is the real traitor. Data files showing his deals with the Helix pirates. If I could get this information to the right people in the Kirathi military, they'd turn on him," Captain Wade finished. "Some would. My father's allies in the fleet, at least, but I would need to transmit the data directly to their command networks. The regular communication channels are controlled by Voss's supporters." Jake was already thinking. "We could modify my ship's transmitter, boost the power enough to punch through their jamming. The transmission would have to originate very close to their fleet," Zara said, "within their defensive perimeter. It would be a suicide mission." "Not if we're fast enough," Jake replied. "Your modifications made my ship much quicker. We could get in, transmit the data, and get out before they react." "We?" Zara asked. "You don't think I'm letting you go alone, do you?" Jake smiled at her. "We stand together, remember?" Captain Wade looked between them. "This is insane. You're talking about flying into the middle of a hostile battle fleet." "Do we have a better option?" Dr. Carter asked quietly. No one answered. Finally, Captain Wade nodded. "How long do you need to modify the transmitter?" 6 hours, maybe 8, Jake said. "If Zara helps with the technical work." "You have 4 hours," Captain Wade replied. "After that, they'll be too close to the planet. We won't be able to help you if things go wrong." Jake and Zara looked at each other. 4 hours to save the colony. 4 hours to expose the truth. 4 hours that might be the last they ever spent together. "We can do it," Zara said firmly. Jake nodded. "Together." As they hurried back to Jake's ship, Zara's mind raced with technical calculations. The transmitter modifications would be complex. The data files were heavily encrypted. The timing would have to be perfect. But for the first time since her escape, she felt hope. Real hope. Jake believed in her. The colony had stood by her. Now it was time to prove that their faith was justified. She would expose Voss's crimes to the entire Kirathi fleet. She would clear her family's name. And maybe, if they were very lucky, she and Jake would live to see tomorrow together. The stars were aligning at last. Not for war, but for truth. Not for betrayal, but for love. 4 hours to change everything. They had to be enough. Jake's hands moved over the ship controls with practiced skill. Beside him, Zara monitored their approach to the Kirathi fleet. The modified transmitter hummed with power in the cargo bay behind them. Everything was ready. 6 ships on scanner, Jake reported. They're in standard battle formation around the command vessel. The Talon's edge will be in the center, Zara said. Voss likes to feel protected. Jake checked their stealth systems one more time. Zara's modifications had been brilliant. His simple cargo hauler now had advanced cloaking technology. Not perfect, but good enough to get them close. "You sure about the transmission protocols?" he asked. Zara nodded. "I have memorized the command codes. The data will reach every ship in the fleet simultaneously. They will not be able to block or alter it. And your father's supporters will believe it? They know my family's honor codes. The evidence files are sealed with my personal encryption. They will know it is real." Jake squeezed her hand. "Then let's do this." They flew toward the Kirathi fleet in silence. The stars looked cold and distant. Jake tried not to think about the odds they were facing. 6 warships against 1 modified cargo hauler. If their plan failed, they would be dead in minutes. "Contact in 30 seconds, Zara announced. Jake's heart pounded. He had flown dangerous missions during the border wars, but nothing like this. Back then he was fighting for his government's interests. Today he fought for something much more personal. The Kirathi ships grew larger on the screen. They were beautiful in a deadly way. All curves and sharp edges, like metal predators swimming through space. "I have a transmission lock on the command network," Zara said. Her fingers flew over the modified controls. "Beginning data upload now." Warning lights flashed on Jake's console. "They've spotted us. Incoming fighters." 2 sleek Kirathi interceptors broke from the fleet formation, heading straight for them. Jake pushed his engines to maximum power. The cargo hauler surged forward faster than any ship its size should move. "Upload at 60%, Zara reported. "I need more time." "Time we don't have," Jake replied, watching the fighters close. The distance. "Those interceptors are armed with plasma cannons. 1 hit and we're space dust." Energy bolts flashed past their ship. Jake rolled left, then right, using every trick he had learned in 20 years of flying. The cargo hauler was not built for combat, but Jake made it dance like a fighter. "Upload at 80%, Zara said. "Almost there." More fighters were launching from the fleet. Soon they would be surrounded. Jake gritted his teeth and flew straight toward the command ship. If they were going to die, they might as well make it count. "Upload complete," Zara shouted. Immediately, the Kirathi fleet communications exploded with activity. Ships began transmitting to each other rapidly. Jake could not understand the language, but he could hear the anger and confusion in the voices. "It worked," Zara said with amazement. "They are receiving the evidence files." On the scanner, Jake watched something incredible happen. 2 of the Kirathi ships suddenly turned their weapons toward the command vessel. Other ships moved to intercept them. The perfect formation broke apart as ships chose sides. "Civil war," Jake breathed. "Not war," Zara corrected. "Justice. Admiral Koss commands the destroyer Voidhunter. He was my father's closest friend. He will arrest Voss for his crimes." The interceptors chasing them had stopped firing. Their pilots were probably as confused as everyone else. Jake used the distraction to fly clear of the battle zone. On the communication channels, one voice rose above the chaos. Speaking in accented but clear human language, a Karathi officer addressed the fleet. "This is Admiral Koss of the destroyer Void Hunter. By the authority of the High Council, I place Commander Voss Kyrith under arrest for treason, conspiracy, and murder. All ships stand down immediately," another voice responded, full of rage. "This is Commander Voss. I reject these false charges. The evidence is fabricated by human spies and traitors. The evidence bears the personal seal of Admiral Kethvexhi's daughter," Admiral Koss replied coldly. "Her honor has never been questioned until you accused her. Your crimes are exposed, Voss. Surrender now and face judgment with dignity." Jake watched the tactical display as more ships turned against the command vessel. Voss was outnumbered 4-2, but he was not giving up without a fight. "All units loyal to the Empire, destroy the traitors," Voss commanded. "The humans have corrupted our people with their lies." The space around New Haven Colony became a battlefield. Karathi ships fired on each other with weapons that could level cities. Jake flew his cargo hauler away from the fighting, but Zara asked him to stop. "We cannot leave yet," she said. "This battle will decide everything." They watched from a safe distance as the space battle raged. Admiral Koss's forces had more ships, but Voss's supporters fought desperately. Energy beams and plasma missiles lit up the darkness. The tide turned when the Talon's Edge suffered a critical hit to its engines. Voss's flagship began to drift, powerless. The other Loyalist ships surrendered rather than face destruction. "It is over," Zara said quietly. Jake's radio crackled with an incoming transmission. "Human vessel, this is Admiral Koss. Please respond." Jake looked at Zara. She nodded. "This is Jake Morrison of New Haven Colony," he replied. "Mr. Morrison, I understand you have been protecting Zara Vexhi. Is she safe?" Zara leaned toward the microphone. "I am here, Admiral, alive and well, thanks to human kindness." "Zara." The relief in Admiral Koss's voice was obvious. "Your father has been sick with worry. When Voss accused you of treason, we knew something was wrong, but we had no proof until now." "The proof was always there," Zara replied. "I just needed friends, brave enough to help me share it." "The High Council has reviewed your evidence. All charges against you are dropped. Voss and his supporters will face trial for their crimes." Jake felt a surge of relief. Zara was cleared. The colony was safe. They had actually done it. "There is one more thing," Admiral Koss continued. "The High Council wishes to open formal diplomatic relations with the human colonies. Your people have shown remarkable courage and honor in this affair." Captain Wade's voice joined the conversation. From the colony, "We would welcome such relations, Admiral. Perhaps this crisis can become the foundation for lasting friendship between our peoples." "I believe it already has," Admiral Koss replied. "Zara, your father wishes to speak with you, but he understands if you choose to remain with your new friends." Zara looked at Jake with questions in her eyes. He smiled and squeezed her hand. "I am honored by my father's forgiveness," Zara said, "but my place is here now. These humans saved my life and gave me something I never had before. They gave me a choice." "And what do you choose?" Admiral Koss asked. Zara looked at Jake, then at the blue planet that had become her home. "I choose love. I choose friendship. I choose to stay." Jake felt his heart swell with joy. Zara had given up everything for him, for them, for the life they could build together. "Then you have my blessing," Admiral Koss said warmly, "and your father's. You are always welcome in the Empire, but we understand that home is where the heart finds peace." The Karathi fleet began to depart over the next few hours. Voss and his supporters were taken away in custody. Admiral Koss remained long enough to sign formal agreements with Captain Wade, establishing New Haven as the first official diplomatic contact point between humans and Karathi. That evening, Jake and Zara stood on the observation deck of the colony's main building. The stars were beautiful and peaceful once again. No more warships, no more threats, just endless possibilities. "No regrets?" Jake asked, putting his arm around her. None, Zara replied, leaning against him. My old life was about duty and obligation. This life is about choice and love. It won't be easy. Humans and Kirathi have different customs, different needs. Zara smiled. The best things in life are never easy. That is what makes them worth having. Jake kissed the top of her head. What do you want to do now? We could stay here or travel to other colonies or even visit Earth. Right now, I just want to be with you, Zara said. Wherever that is. They stood together under the alien stars. Two beings from different worlds who had found something universal. Love needed no translation. Trust needed no treaties. Hope needed only the courage to reach for it. Behind them, New Haven Colony buzzed with activity. Humans and Kirathi worked together to establish new communication protocols. Dr. Carter was already planning medical exchanges. Captain Wade was organizing cultural exchange programs. The future stretched before them, full of challenges and wonders. There would be difficulties as two species learned to understand each other. There would be those on both sides who opposed cooperation, but there would also be friendship, discovery, and growth. Jake and Zara had started something bigger than themselves. Their love story had become a bridge between worlds. Not bad for a betrayed alien diplomat and a cargo pilot who simply chose to help someone in need. I have one question, Zara said as they prepared to go inside. What's that? In human culture, what happens when two people decide to spend their lives together? Jake grinned. Usually they get married. Big ceremony, lots of flowers, everyone they care about comes to celebrate. That sounds wonderful, Zara said. Will you marry me, Jake Morrison? Jake's answer was immediate. Yes, absolutely yes. They kissed under the stars while two species began to. Zara woke up in a white room that smelled like medicine. Her arm was wrapped in some kind of cast. Machines beeped softly around her bed. This was not a Kirathi medical facility. The technology was different, simpler, but somehow gentler. She tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Pain shot through her ribs and head. A human male in white clothes rushed to her side. He had kind eyes and gentle hands as he helped her lie back down. Easy there, he said slowly. You're safe. I'm Dr. Carter. Zara understood some of his words. The Kirathi Empire had files on human languages. She had studied their basic speech patterns during diplomatic training. But speaking was different from reading reports. Where? She began, then switched to broken human words. Where am I? Dr. Carter smiled. New Haven Colony. You crashed in our forest 3 days ago. Do you remember? 3 days. Zara nodded carefully. She remembered running from Voss, the crash, walking toward the lights, then everything became foggy. My ship? She asked. Destroyed, I'm afraid. But you're alive. That's what matters. A door opened and the human who found her walked in. Jake, she remembered. He was carrying a tray of food that smelled better than anything she had eaten in days. You're awake, Jake said with obvious relief. How do you feel? Hurt, Zara admitted. But alive. Thank you. Jake set the food tray on a table beside her bed. Can you eat human food? We weren't sure what your species needs. Zara looked at the simple meal. Bread, some kind of stew, and fruit. Her stomach growled loudly, making both humans laugh. I think that's a yes, Dr. Carter said. Jake helped her sit up to eat. The food was plain but filling. Nothing like the complex dishes served at Kirathi formal dinners, but it tasted good. More importantly, it tasted honest. Why did you help me? Zara asked between bites. Jake shrugged. You needed help. That's enough. Reason? But I am alien. Unknown. Could be dangerous. Are you dangerous? Jake asked with a small smile. Zara thought about the question. Not to you. Not to anyone here. Then that settled. Dr. Carter checked the machines around her bed. Your healing is remarkable. Much faster than a human would recover. But you still need rest. I cannot rest long, Zara said. My people, they will come looking. Jake's expression grew serious. They already did. 3 ships arrived yesterday. They're demanding we turn you over. Fear shot through Zara's chest. You must not. Please. They will kill me. Why? Dr. Carter asked gently. What did you do? Zara closed her eyes. How could she explain the complicated politics of the Karathi Empire to these simple humans? How could she make them understand that truth and lies could switch places overnight? I discovered something I should not have seen, she said finally. Someone I trusted betrayed me. Now they say I am the traitor. Jake leaned forward. What kind of betrayal? The man I was to marry. He sells weapons to our enemies. When I found proof, he blamed me instead. Now the whole empire thinks I am a criminal. The 2 humans looked at each other. Some kind of understanding passed between them. That's rough, Jake said. Being betrayed by someone you love. There was pain in his voice. Zara wondered what betrayal he had suffered. Humans seemed to feel emotions much more deeply than her people. Dr. Carter stood up. I need to check on other patients. Jake, don't tire her out. She still needs rest to heal properly. After the doctor left, Jake moved his chair closer to Zara's bed. Can I ask you something? Zara nodded. What's your world like? Your people? Zara thought for a moment. Cold. Everything is duty and honor and following orders. We are taught that strength is the only virtue that matters. The strong rule. The weak serve or die. Sounds lonely, Jake said. I never thought so before. It was just how things were. Zara looked at Jake's concerned face. But you helped me even though I was weak and injured. That would be shameful in my culture. That's not shameful here, that's just being human. Is that why your people are different? You help the weak instead of abandoning them. Jake was quiet for a while. We're not perfect. Humans can be cruel and selfish too. But most of us try to do the right thing when we can. The right thing, Zara repeated. Is that why you brought me here instead of leaving me to die? Yeah. And because... Jake hesitated. You reminded me of someone who needed help once and didn't get it. Zara heard the sadness in his voice. Someone you cared about? My sister. She was in trouble and asked for help. I was deployed with the military and couldn't get leave. By the time I made it home, she was dead. Jake stared at his hands. I swore I'd never ignore someone who needed help again. I am sorry for your loss, Zara said softly. Your sister would be proud of what you did for me. Jake smiled, but his eyes were wet. Thanks. That means a lot. Over the next few days, Zara grew stronger. Jake visited every morning and evening. He brought her books about human history and culture. She was fascinated by their stories of cooperation and sacrifice for others. Dr. Carter taught her more human words and helped her practice speaking. Her language skills improved quickly. Karathi were natural linguists, trained to communicate with many species, but it was Jake who taught her the most important things. He showed her how humans laughed at simple jokes, how they worried about friends and family, how they could find hope even in dark times. Your people think we are primitive, Jake said one evening as they watched the sunset through her window. Not primitive, Zara corrected. Just different. My people value individual strength above all. But humans have collective strength. You are stronger together than apart. Is that good or bad in your opinion? Zara thought carefully. Good. Very good. I wish my people understood this. Jake looked surprised. Really? You don't miss your old life? What life? I had duty. I had obligations. I had a future planned by others. Zara met his eyes. But I never had choice. Here, even injured and hunted, I have more freedom than I ever had at home. Freedom's not worth much if you can't stay alive to enjoy it, Jake pointed out. Then, we must find a way for me to stay alive, Zara said firmly. By the end of the week, Zara was well enough to walk around the medical center. She helped Dr. Carter with simple tasks and learned about human medicine, It was less advanced than Karathi healing technology, but it was guided by compassion rather than just efficiency. Jake took her to see his cargo ship. She was impressed by its design. Simple but effective, like most human technology. They built things to last and be repaired easily. Could you improve it? Jake asked, watching her examine the engines. Yes. Small changes could increase efficiency by 20%. Larger changes could double your speed. Would you be willing to help? I mean, if you're staying. Zara looked at him carefully. Do you want me to stay? Jake's face turned red. Yes, if you want to. The colony could use someone with your technical knowledge, and I could use a friend. A friend, Zara repeated. The word felt strange in her mouth. Kirathi did not have friends, only allies and enemies, but she liked the human concept. Yes, she said. I would like to be your friend too. That night, Captain Wade called a meeting of the colony council. Zara attended as a witness. The colonists were divided about what to do with her. Some wanted to turn her over to the Karathi ships still waiting at the edge of the system. Others supported Captain Wade's decision to grant her temporary asylum. A few suggested sending her to Earth for proper diplomatic processing. She's already helped improve our water recycling system, Dr. Carter argued. Her technical knowledge is valuable. She's also brought 3 warships to our door, replied colony engineer Pete Walsh. What happens when they get tired of waiting? Captain Wade looked tired. The Kirathi commander has been persistent. He claims Zara is a dangerous criminal who must be returned immediately. What does Zara say? Asked colony teacher Mary Kim. All eyes turned to Zara. She stood up slowly, still wearing the simple human clothes Dr. Carter had given her. I am not dangerous to you, she said clearly. I carry information about crimes committed by powerful people in my government. They want to silence me to protect themselves. What kind of crimes? Captain Wade asked. Selling weapons to pirates. The same pirates who attack trade ships and kill innocent people, including my own people. The room buzzed with whispered conversations. Finally, Jake stood up. I've gotten to know Zara this past week, he said. She's honest and kind. She's helped us improve colony systems and asked for nothing in return. I think we should trust her. Captain Wade nodded slowly. The question is, are we willing to risk Kirathi retaliation to protect one person? That's exactly the question, said Mary Kim. And the answer tells us who we are as people. The vote was close. 12 in favor of granting Zara asylum, 9 opposed. She would be allowed to stay, at least for now. After the meeting, Jake walked Zara back to her temporary quarters. The night air was cool and filled with unfamiliar scents. Thank you, she said as they reached her door. For everything. Thank the council. They're the ones who voted. No, Zara said firmly. They voted because you stood up for me. Because you showed them that I am worth protecting. Jake looked embarrassed. Anyone would have done the same. Zara stepped closer to him. No, Jake. Morrison. Not anyone. You are special. Your whole species is special. You care about others even when it costs you something. She touched his hand briefly before going inside. Jake stood there for a long moment, staring at her closed door. Inside, her